Welcome to the Blue Oasis Podcast. This is the podcast for finding peace and prosperity in your life, learning the history of hobbies, as well as making a little side hustle out of your hobbies. If you want to find balance in your life and find peace, this is your show. Get ready. You're listening to the Blue Oasis Podcast. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. All right, let's get to the show. Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing? I hope everyone is doing well for themselves and everything went well over your weekend as well. So, all right, so today we are talking about basketball and its history, the hobby, and making some money from it. So, in 1891, a 31-year-old man by the name of Dr. James Naismith created the game to help keep baseball players in shape. Now, he never thought it would be as big as it grew today, but I mean, that's a different story. In 1949, the NBA officially started. And eventually you would have the ABA and the NBL, the National Basketball League, was another league that was competing with the NBA during the 50s, late 40s era, and it certainly was a battle to see who would come out on top. Now, during the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, the ABA wanted to differentiate themselves between them and the NBA. So the ABA had a three-point line. The NBA didn't. Now, throughout the 20th century, basketball became one of America's most popular sports and surpassed baseball for a little while, and I think it was up until the late 2010s, and then baseball started to come back around, and it certainly has started to come back around. Now, with the popularity of basketball, there were many alternate versions that kids played and just friends played across the country, like pig and horse. And that's where you would take a shot from a certain place, and then your friend would follow, or vice versa. And if anyone missed it, it would be a letter to them. And if it spelled horse, you lost. And it was a really fun game. Now today we have YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And this is where you can show off all the highlight reels and the trick shots of just random people, whether that's with a Rube Goldberg or someone just working out in the gym. I mean, you can see all of these people, by the way. So just keep that in mind. All right. Now, during the 70s, you began to see people betting on basketball, certainly with college, and depending on who won the bracket or who made it to the finals, you'd win some money if you got it right, and of course lose some if you got it wrong. College basketball was always popular because you never know who would win the game. It was very unpredictable because most people weren't watching this all the way through. So anyone who was like from Kentucky or maybe Kansas or Tennessee, they probably were the biggest college basketball fans because typically they didn't have a professional basketball team until not until the Grizzlies came to Memphis did it come into that Nashville, Kentucky area, or Nashville, Tennessee, Kentucky area, rather. So, so everyone is still basketball crazy in Kentucky. And there was, in 2014, Warren Buffett put out a $1 billion deal saying that he would give $1 billion to anyone that had a perfect bracket. And still, no one was able to get it done. So it's really, really hard to bet on this, because things are just so unpredictable. And just because someone's seated in a certain place, or some team is seated in a certain place, it doesn't mean that they can't win it. Yeah, so there is that. Now, on YouTube, you see many different basketball channels and ways to monetize this. That's one of the ways to monetize this, is start a YouTube channel and show off your trick shots as well. Now, you need to buy a camera, for one thing, to actually film your highlights. And two, you need to work on your editing skills. Now, where do you work on your editing skills? At Skillshare.com. Skillshare.com has over 20,000 classes on everything from drone flying to video editing to poker to chess. You name it, they got it. Get your first 2 months free. Sign up with the link in the show notes and get your first 2 months free, and you can cancel at any time. Next, speaking of basketball, we have my novel, Dribbling Freedom. A star basketball player by the name of Tim Burke fights against eminent domain and fights for people to get their to keep their property, and he learns all about the Kelo versus New London case, and he learns also about more about property rights, and he learns a lot from his mentor, Mr. Hernandez. So check that out now. The book is on Amazon.com, and link is in the show notes. And check out all the other links as well to my Medium YouTube channel and course as well. All right, moving on. So big breath right there. Now, during this time, we were during this era of quarantine. I'll say that. During this era of the Budweiser virus, many people stayed inside. They were not getting outside. Now, the one thing that was open for the most part was the basketball courts, and they were very open. They weren't locked or anything, and it definitely was something that, people could just drive up and go play some basketball around on and just have fun. I mean, it certainly was a way to get away from it all and just stop watching the news and everything. So that was something as well during that time. Now, typically you don't need to start a YouTube channel to get in shape. In fact, right now, I mean, you could probably get a basketball for like $10 if you really wanted one for that cheap. And you can go on to Spalding.com or whatever and go buy it. And it's definitely better than, most, it's definitely better than, it's definitely cheaper than signing up for gym memberships. Let's put it that way, because $10 you get to keep the ball for as long as you live. Essentially, you can dribble it every day, play it, shoot, and get out there early in the morning and get some vitamin D, and you're golden. and that's a great way to stay in shape. Today, you see we have the NBA. Terrible product. I will add that. Terrible, terrible product. And you have college basketball, and it's definitely a great way to go have fun. And I think my only regret from, one of my few regrets from college was not going to a college basketball game. And it's like, I don't know what I was thinking, not ever going to a college basketball game. I almost took this girl out to one, and I really probably should have. So, yes, I guess we live with some regrets, all of us. But yeah. Also, if you are listening to this, take it and you want a nice date that's not like 3 hours of a baseball game long, and you're just waiting there for hours on end. Take her to a nice college basketball game. You might actually get this game down under in 2 hours. Actually, certainly under 3. Assuming that there's no overtime to any of this. If it's played consecutively enough, you're gonna get it down there. So it's also a great way to date someone as well, because definitely just being entertained is something else when it comes to college sports. In my opinion, I think it's better than the NBA now. Going back to the history aspect of it, so during the 50s and the 60s, did it really become a part of American schools? There were definitely some varsity teams, and they were incredibly difficult to make. They were not. There were nothing like the way they ran the programs were not the same as they are today. So just keep that in mind. Now we've seen so many pee-wee leagues and junior leagues and middle school leagues and everything in between. Everything in between. And there are still some people that, are just not good at the sport. I'm probably not that good. I'm probably better than some people I know, but it's supposed to be fun and enjoyable. And that's the thing. Basketball was never supposed to be as popular as it is, and no one could see it coming in like 1891. Imagine if it was made 90 years earlier. I think we would have called basketball our national pastime at some point. And we wouldn't be, and baseball might not have made it had there been a way to bounce the ball and have a net like the same thing we do, because back then in the early 20th century and late 19th century were there actually, it was an actual wicker basket, and every time someone scored, they had to get a stick and dump it out, and then they'd pass again, but you couldn't move once you caught the ball, which was dumb, in my opinion, really dumb. Yeah. So it starts out with that. Eventually, they evolve to the point where they have a bouncing ball, and then they just really mix it up, and then you get teams like the Harlem Globetrotters, not the NBA, but just a team that would do fancy passes and trick shots and all that jazz, and they won their league. I actually do not know what league they were in exactly, but it was before the NBA officially was what it was today, and I think they might have been in one of the other leagues beforehand. So yeah, there was that. Now let's move on to basketball in the Olympics. So basketball in the Olympics, Team USA pretty much won every gold medal there ever was, at least in when the pros were around. Or I think up until 1972, we dominated as Team USA, and then the Soviet Union won that gold medal, and that was disappointing. So they didn't. So that I think that was one of the few times that the USA didn't come back. Now there are these under 18 tournaments in the NBA, and they take these high schoolers and potential college starters, and they definitely could find a way, and they definitely have their own tournaments, and no country is guaranteed anything, but they will have their expectations of some people performing well, such as Houston, or even like France or Germany or whatever. Like, they'll have their tournaments. Excuse me, I had to put my phone down. So there's that. Now they definitely rent out space. They go to certain locations. They use NBA facilities, and it's kind of like the Little League World Series, except it's more of a tournament style of NCAA style, not necessarily a round robin, if I could put that in those words. Now, to those of you listening, you probably never played NCAA basketball, whether that's D1, 2, or 3, and if you're in high school listening to this, I would say that your chances of actually making it to the NCAA are slim. Like, only 3% of high school athletes actually play an NCAA sport, and your numbers aren't too good in that aspect. Now, definitely go to a rec center and just sign up and go play and have some fun. Go enjoy and live life, and that will definitely be great for you. And in terms of building community, I don't know of any other sport that actually could do a better job aside from soccer, because it's easy to play, it's easy to pick up and learn. You don't have to strap on a bunch of skates and hockey pants or get all this baseball equipment or whatever. No, you can just buy a basketball, get a nice gym t-shirt and shorts with pockets preferably, and get some sneakers on you, and of course socks and maybe a headband, and you should be good. You should be good with that, and then you just sign up for a community and meet some people new in your area, and you kick butt, or at least try to. Now, hopefully, if they do things right, you should definitely be passing around and actually just and finding ways to support each other so that you all can grow as individuals. I don't care how old you are, you need to grow as an individual and build yourself up. And basketball is a great way to do that, 100%. So, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this episode of the Blue Oasis podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Adam Rothstein. Check out the links in the show notes. And until the next one, stay safe, stay great. I'll talk to you then.